in the spirit of changing the theme a tad from movie to movie, new composer Nicholas Hooper has given a little prominence to this flute solo that would make Ron Burgundy raise a brow and nod in appreciation. The piano also gives this opening an entirely different, melancholy feeling compared to the other films. That, combined with Yates' choice to have this first action set piece be a shaky cam running sequence in this movie, is definitely set apart in the first few minutes. The same, but different. Well, that escalated quickly. A little dead mother taunting, just in case you forgot Dudley was just the worst. Then Dementors. Michael Scott was right. They are the worst part of, well, anything. And then we end with Harry saving Dudley. And it's so gratifying to see Harry produce the Patronus like it's no big deal this time around, showing how his strength and confidence have grown.
You are hereby expelled.
So it's never explicitly stated in this movie, but book readers know that Umbridge is the one that sent the Dementors to silence Harry, knowing he'd either get soul-sucked or use magic. So the fact that the Ministry immediately expelled him is a hint that they're behind the whole thing. Also, happy to see Harry can finally afford a magical barber. The same gross eye-opening sound effect plays right into the parallels being set up between Voldemort and Harry.
Don't call me Nymphadora.
Yeah, Moody, it's OSHA. Thank you. I feel like I can breathe. Pretty much only sadness in the first 10 minutes of this movie. Did you guys forget this was a Harry Potter film? Always joyed to see people flying around on broomsticks. And I'm sure Londoners are pleased to see some hometown landmarks. Wouldn't be a Harry Potter movie without Harry Potter looking dumbfounded by some new magic he's never seen before. And I'm never one to look a magic building horse in the magically forming window mouth. Attack hugging. Eavesdropping into stairwell.
Stay out of this, Nicholas.
Man, as much as I love Sirius, this movie really starts to make you feel bad for Snape and question Harry's dad and godfather. Still being called by your childhood taunt because you probably snivelled once? Yeah, Snape gets a pass for being ornery.
Eating down in the kitchen. Oh! Just because you're allowed to use magic now does not mean you have to whip your wands out for everything!
Scarce position. Gary Oldman is always a win. Saved some copy brain power on that one. What if, hear me out, what if we just removed one letter?
14 years ago, he had huge numbers at his command, and not just witches and wizards, but all manner of dark creatures.
So that's like a bunch of obscuri? I enjoyed the mirror between Harry's first entrance into the Ministry and the first time he goes to Diagon Alley with Hagrid. His awe is similar, yet as an older teenager, it's as if he can appreciate the workings of a magical government. And I love how ordinary it is for everyone to see wizards entering through flue powder. Elevator movement, expectation subversion.
Albus Percival, Wulfric,
Brian, Dumbledore.
Whichever parent threw Brian in there gets just a prank bro win.
As though all the happiness had gone from the world.
Some series continuity as different people come up with such similar descriptions of Dementors.
Don't think anyone would believe that the Dementors were there by coincidence, Minister.
There are villains, and then there are villains. Umbridge is the devil. But as a complex character with all the niceties and tiny female mouse throat clears, she's one of the most compelling characters in the series. So severely one-dimensional, she's frightening. It's a unique single dimension to be sure, though, landing in a weird, unexplored personality wasteland between pure vitriol in her words and feigned ecstatic bliss on her face.
So silly of me, but it sounded for a moment as though you were suggesting that the Ministry had ordered the attack on this boy.
And no one has ever weaponized passive aggression and condescension quite like Umbridge. It's comforting to know, and also more realistic when it's shown that not everyone is out to get Harry. Fudge, being as powerful as he is, makes it seem that way, and given the connections he had to the now known Death Eaters, it makes sense. But the Ministry of Magic as a whole seems to be behind Harry. Ha! Reading the Quibbler upside down, just like Harry's description of her in the book.
You're just as sane as I am.
And she's just about as sane as her future grandfather-in-law.
Everyone says Loony Love.
What's the magical equivalent of a Freudian slip? A Merlinian slip? So much pink.
We also wish to welcome our new Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher, and I'm sure you'll all join me in wishing the professor good luck.
Because we all know the odds of her not being part of some kind of twist are nearly impossible at this point.
As usual, our caretaker, Mr. Filch, has asked me to remind you.
Seriously, I don't have much hate in my heart, but little makes my blood boil more than that throat clear. Well-crafted antagonist.
Progress for the sake of progress must be discouraged.
And her patter and speech cadence is truly something to behold, dripping with condescension at all times as she hits each consonant like it owes her money. Really gotta give it up to Imelda Staunton.
Ought to be prohibited.
Do you believe the rubbish he's come out with about you know who?
Yeah, I do.
Happy to see Ron sticking up for Harry this time around after his whiny jealousy last year. What a perfect representation of Umbridge. Sickly sweet, piles of sugar that would make Edgar the Bug sick. How much does Umbridge like pink? Painting thousands of years old stone walls pink. That's how much. That moment when you realize it's not red paint this time. Oh, so you're that kind of crazy.
You're honestly the most wonderful person I've ever met.
Sincerity.
Anyway, I don't want to give Umbridge dissatisfaction. Hermione, whatever this is, it's not simple.
It can be a little infuriating to watch this unfold, and you might find yourself yelling at the screen for Harry to Avada Kedavra Umbridge so fast, but he's doing exactly what he should be doing, not playing into her hand. Everything she does is specifically to undermine Dumbledore, and of course that's who she wants Harry to go to.
People avoid them because they're a bit
Different.
Ah, Luna, what a fun character. Of course she's drawn to the different Thestrals, since she herself always feels like an outcast. One thing this scene makes me want to see from the book is McGonagall ignoring Umbridge's ahems and offering her cough drops. But I do love this battle of authority played out with words as well as placement on the stairs. Nobody expects the Hogwarts Inquisitor. Now time to read my favorite Daily Prophet op-ed, blah blah blah. And a Dolores Umbridge reign of tyrannical despot meddling in Hogwarts montage is the fastest way to get me to consider magical murder.
But you were unsuccessful?
Obviously.
Alan Rickman is always a win.
Might I ask you to escort Sybil back inside?
Badass good guy. I know, not the usual criteria, but come on. When he enters, you just get the feeling it will all be alright. It's not quite as cool as Ember Mug Oldman, but I'll take Flames Face Gary any day of the week. Especially since it's technically more accurate to the book description. Another classic Harry Potter transition.
Look on the bright side. Can't be any worse than old Toadface.
Thanks, Ron.
I'm here for you, mate.
Reassurance.
because if we're going to have any chance of beating Voldemort.
Such a simple thing that has such impact. The main reason most everyone refuses to utter you-know-who's name is out of superstitious fear, when it ironically only elevates his perceived power. Hermione finally treating him like a mortal that can be defeated and not an unstoppable legend is a big step. I mean, if you didn't want to be under suspicion for creating an army for Dumbledore... But I really like the parallels between this group and the Order of the Phoenix. Kids starting something more powerful than even they realize. Also, I think whoever this is needs to learn basic penmanship before combat magic. Girl power? Generosity? Nope. Awesome, Ginny. Just don't use it around shelves filled with glass orbs or anything like that. And a Harry Potter training Dumbledore's army montage is the fastest way to get Neville to be able to do a spell that our main characters were doing as first years. But in all honesty, it's really satisfying to see Harry take on a leadership role in this film. He's timid at first, but slowly slips right into it. Love. For now. Even when the mystery is pretty simple, they always do such a great job of building tension towards it. Was Harry really Nagini this whole time?
You will attempt to resist. Prepare yourself.
The line that Snape walks between resentfulness of Harry and being a Death Eater and also occasionally teasing his secret love or confusing allegiances always amazes me.
This connection between me and Voldemort, I just feel so angry all the time.
Well, that explains that.
I said I'm fine, Ron! Yeah, well, I haven't got any of those, have I, Ron? You don't understand.
It's tough to see Harry so angry in this film, as he's usually pretty level-headed, but his connection with Voldemort really makes it all clear.
What matters is the part we choose to act on. That's who we really are.
More genuine wisdom from Sirius. Also hugging. And Helena Bonham Carter is always a win. Fun Patronus effects all around.
Clearly says Dumbledore's army, not Potter's. I instructed Harry to form this organization.
Taking the fall for a friend. Coolest exit ever.
Dumbledore's got style.
Put me down. Now.
Self-confidence. Finally, the first glimpse into why Snape's so, well, Snapey. Epic shot of an epic pendulum behind an epic pink cardigan. As a little precursor comeuppance, I'm totally satisfied with Fred and George potentially sacrificing their Hogwarts enrollment to show Umbridge what's up.
Dragon? Not since there's been a dragon in these parts for 1,000 years!
Impartiality.
I really hate children.
Honesty.
Tell them I mean no harm!
I'm sorry, Professor. I must not tell lies.
Callback burn. And some well-deserved comeuppance. Probably should have been worse, but we always have our imaginations. Also, I bet Umbridge feels really bad for firing Emma Thompson, since it turns out she was right.
You are in grave danger.
That was clever, Ron.
That's been known to happen.
Flirting. We've caught glimpses of it here and there, but finally being in the Department of Mysteries is pretty impressive. The set design and dark atmosphere are fantastic. I'll never get tired of seeing baddies materializing from black smoke like this. And it's wonderful to see all of Harry's students putting his tutelage to real-world use. What did I say, Ginny?
Get away from my godson.
Ha! Gary Oldman doesn't even need magic. Yep. I'm a fan of this amped up spell v spell fighting they introduced in this film. The flashes of different colored light and sharp snaps as each spell is deflected or makes contact like the crack of a whip elevates the danger level and shows us how much farther these kids need to progress.
Nice one, James!
Well, that'll get you right in the throat lump. An easy way to sum up how much serious Mrs. James and how Harry and his relationship has grown. And then to abruptly follow it up with such an unexpected and precipitous death. Serious gut punch. Did I mention Bellatrix is like the definition of an evil witch with that cackle? And these crazy camera shakes perfectly showcasing what's happening in Harry's head. That's a pretty awesome entrance.
Do it!
Mercy. Harry firmly separates himself from Voldemort with his refusal to kill an unarmed Bellatrix. We get the feeling that Voldemort was caught off guard last time. Also, he'd just been a gross, creepy man-baby a few minutes prior to their duel, and toyed with Harry a little too much. This time he disarms Harry like flicking a fly. Alright, that was a pretty cool exit too. Another duel beautifully shot cutting back and forth from Harry's disconcerted face to dripping liquid electricity with both men giving it their all, and the lack of any score gives the tension realism. I like this film. It's not the fastest pace, but even if I had hated everything else in this film, I'd have a hard time hating the film overall because of this duel. It's just pure brilliance with Voldemort's devastatingly extreme attacks with Dumbledore's more calm and passive defensive spells. Even Dumbledore's wand sounds are almost soothing, and when Dumbledore could have drowned Voldemort, he let him go. And Voldemort's glass wave that Dumbledore's shield turns into sand are some of the coolest reactive spells we've seen so far in the series. And I love how again Dumbledore illustrates his power by holding Voldemort in the water ball and pushing Harry back out of harm's way at the same time. The headline in my mind reads a little different, but that'll do. As if I needed to be reminded of Umbridge, you're throwing this font at me again? Well played. We've now hit the stride where the last 4 films are all directed by the same director, David Yates. A definite shift from Columbus and Cuarón, and you can tell this isn't Mike Newell from Goblet either. Yet it's still every bit as Harry Potter as its predecessors. After The Dark Knight a few weeks ago, I didn't think I'd be talking about such a menacing villain again for a while, but Umbridge really was the standout in this film. Very often like a sore thumb. Did you find her? She manages to say the most threatening things with a smile and giggle.
Fail to do so, and the consequences may be severe.
The main difference is while I revered, maybe even admired Ledger's Joker, I really just want to push Umbridge off a tall building and not catch her with my back grappling hook. A little less magical whimsy in this film, but we've been headed in that direction since Cedric died. Well, really since the first Dementor showed up in Azkaban. We still get moments of wonder here and there, but they're fewer and farther between. Even though this last duel had high stakes, I think it counts since my jaw was on the floor the entire time. I know this was another big departure from the books. Seems like one of the biggest losses was not divulging that Harry's mother's love protection, as it were, extends to Petunia. And that's the real reason Harry needs to stay with the Dursleys every year. But otherwise they told a complete story that didn't seem to be missing chunks of information as far as the film is concerned. A common thread that was started in Prisoner of Azkaban and carried on into this film is how Harry feels entirely alone.
I feel more alone than ever.
Well, if I were you-know-who, I'd want you to feel cut off from everyone else.
It looks like you're on your own.
Something this film really starts to present is the connection he fears with Voldemort. But by the end, it's the thing that separates them. Interestingly, Harry's shift into a leadership role strengthens those fears.
What if after everything that I've been through, something's gone wrong inside me? What if I'm becoming bad?
But as Dumbledore says,
it isn't how you are like, it's how you are not.
This moment, and you'll never know love or friendship, and I feel sorry for you,
is what this film has been building towards. The Visions montage is also my absolute favorite part of the score. Even though Dumbledore has all but abandoned Harry through most of the movie, Harry creates a new family with the DA. Sure, Voldemort has his followers, but no one that loves him. No one he can laugh with. And although Harry's story gets darker before it gets lighter, he still separates himself from Voldemort at every turn. Some fun new characters in this film. Luna is such a fun addition to this group. Not really anyone's love interest except for maybe Neville, but another true friend to Harry. One that can actually connect with him in ways his other friends can't. And then the opposite addition of Bellatrix in this film was equally as welcome. She doesn't get much screen time, but her presence is felt more so than any other Death Eaters, even Lucius. And it doesn't hurt that she kills Sirius, taunts Harry about it, and then is the reason Harry uses one of the unforgivable curses. A testament to the entire cast, each actor's screen time shifts from film to film, but you never get the sense that they showed up for the day to do their scene and that's it. Everyone feels like a part of a bigger story. As little as we see Malfoy, he gives me the sense he's scheming and bullying people behind the scenes, living out his life. The three biggest credits go to Michael Gambon, Alan Rickman, and Maggie Smith. Their presence is always felt even when they're not in every scene. A good movie that doesn't quite surpass Goblet as a whole for me, though it's tough to beat Dumbledore showing off his powers against the Dark Lord. Can't wait to keep going. Believe it or not, I do have a teaser frame for next week. God willing, I'll have it up in time. And who knows, I may be a dad this time next week. Thanks for watching.
I'll make short work of this.
Bombarda?